Christmases when we was little, we didn't have Christmas trees. Uh, my dad always asked us, do you want a tree or presents? So we took presents. And
is that because he would have to buy a tree, or there was no place where he could go cut one down or anything like
no,
that?
we was out in, I call it no man's country. It was about 30 miles west of Sterling. But I don't remember of people cutting down trees. In fact, I don't remember seeing any. That was just kind of barren. They didn't have trees.
Was there some place that sold trees around
There probably was in Sterling.
That's why he asked you.
Yeah. And so he kind of fixed it up, I guess, so it would, I probably should have brought some cough drops. He fixed it up so it would seem like Santa Claus did come. So we didn't open ours Christmas Eve, but we'd go over to either Aunt Pearlie's or Uncle Ben's. That was his own sister and his stepbrother for a while. And before we would leave, why, he'd tell us we'd have to fix Santa Claus something to eat, a plate of food, because he's probably hungry when he got there. Then he'd come back and put out whatever they got for us. And we didn't catch on to him ever doing that. But his plate was always clean when we got back. I think we got about as big a thrill out of Santa Claus cleaning his plate as we did our toys. And I can't remember much of anything of toys. We did have, Vernon and I, we did have some dishes and a little table and a chair, some chairs to the table, and nice dolls. And it wasn't very long till I always broke mine. And it would break my heart. They were china head dolls. And boy, you drop them, and they was gone. So I cried my heart out for a while, but that didn't seem to bring back my doll. And that was, then we come back to Nebraska, and we were living in about a little three-roomed house, and we looked forward to having Santa Claus, but we didn't have a tree. I don't remember of having a tree there either. You know, I think, and it wasn't on Christmas, but when the Christmas tree was through at school, you know, they always just threw them away. So my sister that is 7 years younger than me, they had taken, you know, all the decorations off and laid it out for whoever was to pick them up. And here she come one noon hour pulling that great big tree home. I mean, Christmas was past, but anyway, she brought the tree home.
She wanted to have a tree.
She wanted to have a tree.
Now we're talking about Vera.
Yeah. And so we stood up for a while, and I don't know what we put it on. But really, that was the first Christmas tree that we had in our house that I can remember.
You did stand it up?
Yeah. I don't know what Dad done, but we stood it up. And I don't remember anything that we put on it, but we probably found something to put on it. And that was our first Christmas tree, and Vera was going to Clinton. So she couldn't have been over, what age? That went to the
12.
12. She couldn't have been
11 or 12.
Yeah. And then for my own kids, we didn't have a tree either for quite a few years, because we was married in 34 during Depression. So they didn't get much for gifts. It just really wasn't much, but we didn't have a tree. And I think the first tree we had was on Apple Street. And we always put one up in the corner there. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Over there in the corner. And I don't remember, how old would you been then?
When we moved to Apple Street?
Yeah, you were 7, wasn't you?
I always thought it was 8 or 9, but I think you were telling me that it was.
Yeah,
I was
because you were
7
just
or 8.
in the second
I
grade.
was in the second grade, yeah.
And
That would have been 7, yeah.
and so we would get a tree. It wouldn't amount to too much, but nevertheless a tree. And I'd kind of buy some things to put on it. And as Christmases went by, we had a little more on it. And now, that was on Apple Street. Can I backtrack about the sleds or not? Should I just let that go? That was before we moved on Apple Street. I didn't. Well, I'll kind of backtrack. When we had Ken, we lived kind of country-like out across the street from a school that he went to. No, you didn't go to school there, did you?
Mm-mm.
Huh. But anyway, we had a Christmas there. We didn't have no Christmas tree there either.
You're talking about on the hill?
Yeah.
Across from Belmont School?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I did get him a nice sled. And one day I went across the street to use the neighbor's phone, and I come back, and I didn't see Dale or Dick anywhere. And I began to holler. They didn't answer. And something kind of made my mind kind of think, could those kids have got up in the attic? Because they never went up in the attic and found those sleds. So I thought, well, I'll go open the door that leads the steps up to the attic. And there they stood, right at the steps, and each one holding their sled. And I suppose they were scared to death. They'd make a little bit of noise so I could hear them. And I guess I wasn't very nice at that time, because I just said, okay, bring them on down. Just have all the fun you want with it, because your Christmas is done. Okay, and no, they wanted to keep me for Christmas. Well, it was about a week before Christmas. And Dick, he almost cried, but they all stayed real brave. So they left them in the attic. But they never looked into anything after that, because that Christmas was just about ruined for them. Then, of course, we moved some places between, but that was when we moved on Apple Street, and then's when we got a Christmas tree.
Well, now, you went from across the street from Belmont. You
Yeah.
went to P Street.
Yeah. And from P Street, we went to Apple.
To Apple Street.
Yeah. So, we did.
I remember a Christmas on P Street where I got a white roll-top desk.
Yeah, that was the one that Mom and Dad got you.
Yeah.
And Tom and Chuck come back. It was sitting out there in, well, it was kind of a glass porch. And I don't know which one did it, but they whittled quite a bit off the top on one end. Of course, that broke Ken's heart, but it made me kind of mad because everything Ken got, they broke. And they didn't get quite as many toys as Ken. And the only reason I could figure out why they broke every toy he got, and well, they felt like they wasn't getting as many toys as him. And it's a good thing you remembered that desk, but I do remember how they did wreck it.
Now, see, I don't remember that at all. But I remember Grandpa wanting to bring it in from someplace, and I had to lay down and go to sleep so Santa Claus could come, and then Grandpa could get the desk in. But I remember seemed like it was around 6 or 7 o'clock or something like that, and it was early, and I had to lay down, and I couldn't understand what was going on while it was all to get that desk in there. And I remember that, but I don't remember Tom and Chuck doing that to the desk.
Oh, yeah, you was heartbroken, and you was mad that they did that. And, but we had more of a Christmas from then on, and we always had a tree. It wasn't a big tree, but it was big enough that we put lights on it, and we kind of had a big window there where it could show out. Well, Dale had gotten married while we lived there, and it was after he come from the service. And Dick got married when we lived there. So Christmas Eve, we always had all of our presents under the tree. And I got so I put everything in something else because the kids would pick it up and shake it to see if they could hear a rattle. So if I could get it in an oatmeal box, I wonder what could be in that. It's round, it makes a noise. And I used shoot boxes and all kinds of boxes and stuff to kind of, so they wouldn't guess what was there. I don't think they ever did. Did you remember?
I remember one Christmas where Dad got a watch, I think it was, or something, and we put it in a great big box.
Now, was that Dad or Grandpa?
Well, I'm not sure. It seems like it was Dad. And then we put it in a smaller box, not smaller than the watch, but the big box, and then he just had to go through all kinds of boxes to finally get down. Was that Grandpa?
Well, Grandpa did, but it kind of, like you say, it seems like your kids did that one time for Chuck, too.
Yeah, I think we did. I think that was
But,
Dad.
see, you had boxes that was long, and Dad didn't have nothing, and he just had his watch clear to the bottom, and that's when he worked his sales book, and they had shredded paper. And he'd pull out, and he'd pull out. And he'd get tired and wait a little bit and stop, and then he'd say, I don't think there's anything in here. I think somebody's just pulling a trick. But he would go ahead and keep pulling it out. So he found his watch at the bottom. I got a picture of that.
Do you?
Where he's standing there, resting, I guess, and there's that great big box and the shredded paper around it. And, well, we got so, Mom and Dad, it was kind of hard for them to get around. So we went to having our Christmas dinners at Mom and Dad, my Mom and Dad's place, and all the kids would go there. And us kids, Verna and we'd fix up most of the dinner and clean up the dishes. And then we'd sit and visit. And Vera lived in Colorado then, but lots of times they'd come back for Christmas too. So it was just a happy time for the family to get together and visit. And we always looked forward to that because there was always something that somebody said or laughed. And it was just a happy day. But we still did not have a Christmas tree in the corner of Mom and Dad's house. And so the kids all accepted it because they opened their gifts on Christmas Eve, kind of at their own home, or we'd go to each other's places and open them. But we did not have no tree at our house, and we would give Mom and Dad their presents. And I think, let's see, then the Christmases after that, the kids was older, and did we have a tree on B Street?
I can't remember.
It was small, you know, the front room, the dining room and the front room just run together, one long room. And we had a couch at each end, and then the table kind of down on this end to go in the kitchen, and down on the front room end was our bedroom and your kids' bedroom. But I can't think of seeing a tree there.
I don't ever remember seeing a tree.
We must have just opened our presents or went someplace else. I've gone blank there. What we did do.
Well, we opened presents Christmas Eve on P Street. I remember that. From getting that desk, and I remember getting the cowboy hat and the two guns with the gun belt, and they tied around my leg, and it was like Roy Rogers.
Yeah.
But that was a Christmas Eve. I remember that. But I don't ever remember seeing a tree.
No, I can't place a tree there anywhere. But I don't know. We always let the kids open their presents on Christmas Eve. Well, even when the kids was younger, because, you know, we always told them Santa Claus was going by. That way we'd get in bed a little bit earlier. But no, we couldn't do that. I guess we just started opening, because I can remember your kids kind of driving me crazy about when do we get to open our presents? And I'd say, well, when it gets dark.
Well, it was after supper.
After supper,
After supper was what you told us all the time.
And so just as soon as they got through their supper, but before, they'd come and ask me 3 or 4 times, when are we going to open our presents? And I'd say, well, we got to eat first. Got to have supper first. So I think supper probably went down pretty fast at those times, so they could open their gifts. But they got, I think, fairly good gifts there. Where was we at when you got your bicycle?
P Street. Got J.C. Higgins 24-inch bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was on P Street.
Your red one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And that was a nice gift.
Yeah, I remember that one. I had that bicycle for a long time.
Yeah? You outgrew it.
Well, she feels like she's covered some Christmases now, and so maybe that'll spark a little memory in everybody's minds, and you can think about some of the Christmases that we've had in the past. So we wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we're going to say bye.
Goodbye.